airplanes and even paper airplanes fly through the air. It's gonna be really fun. For this experiment, the only thing you need is paper. I'm using computer paper here. You can probably use construction paper. I don't think cardstock will probably work. You probably will need something a little flimsier, at least flimsier. The flimsier paper will make it easier to fold, but that's all you need for today's experiment. Before we get started with the experiment and with the lesson though, please do not fly your paper airplanes at your siblings or at your pets or at breakable objects in your house, okay? This is really fun, and it's really fun maybe to play games with paper airplanes with your siblings, maybe see whose plane can fly the farthest, but we are not going to use them to annoy our siblings or pets or parents. Thank you. But before we get to folding paper airplanes, let's talk about the science behind them. Planes are part of aerodynamics, which is a branch of physics that deals with air and how air interacts with solid objects. So humans have made airplanes, and we've learned how to make them fly, which is kind of crazy to think about it because airplanes are metal objects that weigh a ton. But there's other creatures that fly. Birds, for example. We did this a couple weeks ago, or last month or whatever. We talked about airplanes, or we talked about birds and the science behind birds and how they flew. Well, birds are not technically part of aerodynamics because they're animals, but they do fly on instinct. People, though, we cannot fly on instinct, and so we have made airplanes to carry ourselves across vast distances that we never would have been able to reach otherwise. So a plane is acted upon by 4 different forces. You have the lift, weight, thrust, and drag. And these are all opposing forces that help balance each other out. So basically, the opposites in each of these forces help to balance the plane so that it will fly through the air. You have a drag, which is the air resistance that slows the movement of the plane as it's flying through the air. So think of it this way. Our air that you're breathing is full of molecules. We've talked about molecules a few times in a previous experiment, so we'll talk about them again later on. But for all you need to know, the air we're breathing is full of molecules. For a plane to move, it has to force its way through those molecules, and the drag from those molecules try to pull the plane down. There's also the weight. Planes are heavy. Okay, you can never lift a plane with your finger or even by yourself because they weigh a ton. And gravity and the force that's put onto objects forces objects to the ground. So the weight of an airplane is also trying to push toward the ground. But at the same time, you have lift, which is the upward force that is happening above in the air, above and below the wings. So basically, the air above the plane's wings is lighter than the air beneath the wing, and the differences is in the air, particularly how the air beneath the wing is heavier, is pushing the plane upward. You also have thrust, which forces the plane to move through the air, and this is usually created by a propeller or a jet engine. So this is actually forcing the plane to move through the air. You also have, and also planes can fly in different directions. You have the pitch, which is where where planes move up and down. You have a roll, where one wing is tilted, and it kind of forces the plane to kind of roll through the air, kind of like a roller coaster. You also have yaw, which points the nose left or right, so that is how planes turn. So as you can see, there's a lot of science behind planes. To test the science out for ourselves, we are going to make our own paper airplanes. So I'm going to show you guys how to fold 2 different types. You have the classic dart paper airplane, which actually flies really far and pretty fast. And you have this type of airplane. I can't remember the actual scientific name of it, but I know it's kind of Star Wars looking and it's really fun to fold. So we will start with the dart, which is your basic airplane. You're going to take one piece of paper, like this, and you're going to fold it like a hot dog. Like such. Then you're going to unfold it, and you're going to take these 2 top corners, and you're going to fold them toward the middle, toward that crease that you just made by folding it in half. gonna be making sure the edges that I'm folding is pretty sharp by sharpening them by going over them with my fingernail. You don't have to. You can, if you're scared of paper cuts, you can always use like a paper clip or even scissors and heavy object and just, you know, make sure it's nice and sharp edges. That's what it's gonna look like. Let's see, and fold toward the middle. Next, you're going to take these side corners, and you're also gonna fold these side corners here into the middle as well. This might take a little bit of trickiness right there. Now your plane should look like this, okay? You're gonna fold it in half, just like this. Fold it nice down the center again. Okay, that's what this looks like. Now I'm gonna take these sides right here, and I'm gonna fold them down, not so it's straight down, but I'm gonna fold them so I have a little bit of a corner left showing here at the very end. So kind of like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And I'm going to fold it to where I'm making sure both sides match. Because if your sides don't match, meaning that it needs to be, both sides need to be folded in the same exact places. If they don't match, then it might mess up how fast and how long your plane will stay in the air. Like this. So now we're gonna fold it like this, and now we have our dart airplane. Super easy, super classic. Kind of straighten the wings out a little bit like this. And from my experience, this actually goes pretty far and pretty fast too. So this is really fun if you want to race your siblings in how far your planes can go. That'd be a really fun thing to do. Before you guys get off to racing, let's go ahead and make our Star Wars themed plane. This is going to be a little bit more folding, so it might be a little bit more challenging, but it's still really fun to do if you can get down. It's still simple, but it just might take a little work to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take another piece of paper like this, and we're going to fold it like a hamburger. Crease it really well, like such. Now you're going to unfold it. And now we're going to fold it like a hot dog. Once again, you want to make sure that it is creased very well, like such. Now, unfold it, turn it around so that the top of the paper, the fold of the paper that you, is now officially the top of the paper right here, is toward you, and you are going to fold it again like a hamburger. Like this. Now, and we're going to also fold it in half again, so we have a square, or mostly a square at least, like this. Now, you're going to take, now if you see here, we have these little openings that are kind of from where we fold the paper. We're gonna take this opening here first, and we're gonna squash it flat, making sure that the folded crease is in the center of our paper. The end result, your paper should look like this. And again, I took this flap, see it was folded like a square right here. If you'll notice this flap from where we folded it, I took it and I squashed it flat against here. Okay. You're going to turn this, oops, no, we're gonna fold it this way. And we're gonna do the same thing with this side right here. And again, you want to make sure your sides match. I found that it was more challenging making the sides match in this one than it was when making the dart, probably because it requires a lot more folding and a lot more precise folding. You can still do it. And again, what I did was I took this side flap here, and it was from here, and I squashed it flat. Okay? Very good. Now we're going to unfold it so that it looks like we have a sort of a triangle. And again, we have this flap, squashed flat, folded over, this flap, squashed flat, squashed flat, and folded over, so we have our triangle. Next, we're going to take this top corner and fold it to the bottom of the paper. Like such, to the top, and I folded it to the bottom. We're going to unfold it, and now I'm going to fold this top corner so that it meets this crease right here. Just like this. So I have this crease here, so I took this top corner, I folded it so it met the crease. Then I'm going to fold it in half so that the end result will look like this. So again, I took this top corner, first I folded it to the bottom so I get this crease. Then I took the top corner again and folded it to that crease. Then I folded it down along that same crease so that looks like this. Next, I'm going to fold this back. This is kind of where it gets a little tricky here. So I'm going to fold this back just like this, to kind of crease this up a little bit, kind of crease this back crease again, fold it backward. Unfold it. What I'm going to do is about 1/4 to 1/2 inch is going to be folded over. Like this. What it is. So here's what it looks like. It's stretched out nice and thin. I about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. I folded it over the back so that the bottom kind of is making this little Z shape right here. And the front looks like this. It's very simple. Again, here it is straight, and I folded it about 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch back like this. Okay. Now I'm going to fold it back. Oops. What we're doing here is we're making the part where you hold on to it to fly the plane. That's what we're doing. That helps you to have a little visual there. And just to help crease that up a little bit, I folded it in half again so I took what I just did, it's folded like this. I folded it in half again so the two sides match up, kind of creasing it a bit, and that way when I unfold it, there is a place for me to hold this plane. Now you can see that we actually have 4 wings. We have wing 1, wing 2, wing 3, and wing 4. I'm going to take each wing and I'm going to fold them back a little bit. Maybe about maybe an inch, half an inch. You can play around with different sizes of your wings with how much you fold back, how little you fold back, and to see which one gives you more distance and more time in the air and how fast it will go. And that's really the funnest part of making paper airplanes, is you can play around with the designs and figure out a new design for you to make, test them out, see which ones go fastest and the farthest, maybe grab some friends and do it yourself. So I took each of our wings, wing 1, wing 2, wing 3, and wing 4, and I took the ends and I folded them back about an inch to half an inch there. Now I'm going to straighten them up like this, and I have my plane. What I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe kind of bend this up just a little bit, just to kind of give a little bit of umbrella shape to help the air resistance is going through the air. But now you have 2 different planes to fly through the air. So have fun making airplanes. Again, please don't fly them to siblings or to your pets or to anything breakable. But I want to encourage you guys to get some spare papers, grab some friends, grab your siblings, grab your parents, grab your whole family, test out different types of paper airplanes, fly them through the air, see which ones you can make that will go fastest and the farthest, and